Hi class, welcome to week 6 in the thesis course. This week we will not meet synchronously. Instead, as you know, you'll be expected to work through this module. One of the activities in this module is this lecture on non-research articles. So this week we're going to review the two types of non-research articles you can use, and I'll show you how to use them and a little bit about how to write them up. Let's get started. So a quick review, you'll recall that many of the articles I'm asking you to submit must be original or empirical research. These are articles in which researchers have gone out and conducted a study. So you'll see things about participants and methods and results and how they analyzed their findings and what did they find. That's not what this lecture is about. We've been talking about that in class. One of the types of non-research articles you might come across are called review articles. These sometimes are called review of the literature or meta-analyses. Basically, this is where a writer has gone out and found a lot of studies in the area, in the topic, and written about those studies. So this is a good way to understand a topic, to read a review of the literature, so that you can understand what has and has not been done. It's also a good way to find out who the important researchers are or what the important articles are. A third type of article might be a perspective, an opinion, or a commentary. These are usually written by experts in the field, and so we respect their opinion. No matter which one of these types of articles that you use, remember that it's got to be a peer-reviewed article. And this means that it's gone through a process where other people have looked at it prior to publishing it, and it's been revised and it's been reviewed and reviewed and reviewed. Most of the kinks worked out, and then a journal says they will publish it. When you're doing your search in the library, remember to check peer-reviewed. Also, if you check PDF, you'll only look at articles with PDFs that you can download and read and submit along with your template. So those are the three big types of articles. The question we're going to talk about this week is how do you use and write up a non-research article? We've been talking about research articles in class, but now we want to turn to non-research articles, those two types, the reviews and the perspectives. One of the ways you can use these articles is to provide a definition of some important thing in your topic. For example, if you were doing an essay on using the flipped classroom model, then you would have to say what the flipped classroom model is. So look at this definition that could be written in an essay. The flipped classroom model involves a reversal of traditional teaching methods where students engage with instructional content at home through pre-recorded lectures or online resources, and class time is used for active collaborative learning activities and discussions. So this definition was taken out of the article Smith 2015. Think about your own topic. You're going to be asked to provide a definition for some key element of that topic. So for example, if you're doing artificial intelligence, you're going to want to find in one of your articles a definition for what AI is in the classroom. If you're doing corporal punishment, you'll want to define that. If you're doing social media, you want to define that. So be on the lookout for researchers usually define the topics that they're talking about. Sometimes this can be in a non-research article, but sometimes it is in a research article. Whatever it's in, you need to provide a definition of the key terms. The second thing that a non-research article might be good for is to provide you with a history or a background. You may remember the essay that we read in the very first class on early childhood education and the benefits of providing early childhood education. In that essay was a history or a background. Let's read it together. Over the past 5 decades, early childhood education in the United States has undergone significant transformations, reflecting evolving societal values, educational philosophies, and research insights. The 1970s marked a pivotal period with the introduction of federal initiatives such as Head Start, aimed at providing comprehensive early education for children from low-income families. This landmark program was a response to growing recognition of the importance of addressing educational disparities early in a child's life. So that's not lifted word for word, but it's paraphrased and provided from the article Ziegler and Stipe Co. 2016. The next paragraph might talk about what happened in the 1980s and the 1990s, so sort of giving a history of early childhood education. You can also use it to give background information about what's been done in your topic. So, for example, if you're talking again about corporal punishment, you can give a little history of when corporal punishment came into being in the schools. And non-research articles are sometimes useful for finding out. Sometimes, again, you can find this in the introduction to a research article. But whatever you do, you're going to need to write eventually a history or background of your topic. Sometimes perspective articles especially are really good if you want to provide a quote from an expert. Let's take a look at this quote. As education expert Dr. Ken Robinson, 2017, aptly puts it, teaching is not a delivery system, it's an interactive process. Quotes are good to sprinkle around your paper, but I must caution you, you shouldn't have more than a few quotes. The large majority of your paper should be in your own words and not quotes. I compare it to like adding salt and pepper to your cooking. You don't want to dump the whole salt or pepper shaker into your stew. You want a little bit to flavor it. The same thing with quotes. You just want a few throughout your paper. Now let's think about how we're going to write up the non-research article. First of all, you're going to use the same article review template that we've been using in class to write up the research articles. You're going to put your name and the topic at the top. You're still going to put the reference and the citation. You're going to provide either the permalink or you're going to submit the article as a PDF with the template. Remember, there must be one template for each article that you do. And finally, you're going to say which of the following types, one of the 3 types of articles this is. Is it original research? Is it a review of the literature? Is it a book chapter short commentary? That would be perspective. So you're going to check that. Moving to the next section of the template, if you're writing up a non-research article, you do not respond to the original research section because it's not a research article. Leave that blank. Let's look at the questions you would write about if you were doing a review of the literature. First, what are some interesting and relevant findings that your paper might use? So you're going to read the review of the literature and some things will jump out at you as they pertain to your topic. You can simply list them, write them as a paragraph, or you can list them in bullet form. Were there any specific authors mentioned repeatedly? This might be a clue as to who's important that you might want to go and look up. Were there specific articles you might want to read that were mentioned? and put the APA reference here. So the way to do this in the review of the literature, if you see a sentence that mentions an article and the article might be interesting to read, look it up in the reference section of the article at the bottom, and you'll see the APA reference there. You can copy and paste that into the template, and then you can go and find that article to see if you want to read it. Obviously, if you found a definition, you would put it under the interesting and relevant findings. And one hint, if you decide to use a definition word for word from, or a quote word from any article, you need to put the page number that you found it on, because you're going to have to cite it that way. If you choose to use a perspective article, this would be an expert piece written by an expert, or a book chapter, or an opinion piece. You fill out the next section. Is the article written by a respected author? What are his or her credentials? So usually you can Google the author and find their credentials, or many times it might even say in the article, at the bottom of the article or at the top of the article, who the author is and what are their credentials. What did the article or chapter contribute to your knowledge about the topic? Sum it up in a few sentences below. And again, this is where you could put your quote with the APA reference and the page number. Did the article or chapter point you to any other works? If so, provide the APA reference here. And the same thing applies as to the review of literature. It's like pulling on a thread. You want to go to the next article and the next article and the next article. And if you pay attention to what you're reading in the articles, you won't have to do as much searching. Just like we did with the research article, you're going to write a paragraph or two summarizing what you learned. Now it's important to think about what is it that you're going to take from this piece. It probably is not going to be as long as your summary of a research article. It might just consist of a definition. It might consist of some background. Think about how you're going to write it in your essay. So for example, if you're thinking about using a definition from a non-research article, you might say something like the following. Gifted expert Joseph Renzulli describes gifted education as, quote, and then you would put the definition in quotes, and then you would put the citation. And if you wanted to add a couple of sentences, you might add, this definition clearly expands on previous definitions of gifted education, in that it is more inclusive. So in other words, not just the definition of what you're copying down, but any thoughts that you think might eventually fit into your essay. Now I'd like to conclude by reminding you that we do meet on March 12th. We meet together on Tuesday at 4:45, and by then you should have written up a template on one non-research article and on another research article. So that's 2 plus the one you did previously will make 3. Submit both templates, the research and the non-research, to the link in the homework folder for homework number 5. Again, this means you will have submitted a total of 3 article templates, counting the one that was due on March 5th for homework 4. So altogether, by March 12th, you'll have given me 2 research articles templates and 1 non-research article template. 1 to homework 4 and 2 to homework 5. Our next meeting is Tuesday, March 12th. As always, if you need to meet before then, come to my office hours or send me an email and we'll figure out a time to meet. If you have any questions, please email me. Thanks, everybody.